One of the most common questions asked by bodybuilders, athletes, and especially those newly introduced to heavy-duty training is deceptively simple. How often should I work out? Or, framed more precisely, when should I train again? In the modern fitness landscape, where training frequency is debated endlessly and programs are shaped more by trend than by logic, Mike Mentzer's answer remains uniquely clear and scientifically grounded. Mike believed that the ideal training frequency varies with the individual, owing to one's genetically influenced ability to tolerate and to recover from high-intensity exercise. It wasn't speculation, it was observation. Over the course of his consultation business, both in person and over the phone, Mike trained over 2,000 clients. In doing so, he noticed a pattern that parallels all genetically influenced traits: a bell curve distribution. A bell curve describes how most people cluster around the average, neither extremely gifted nor extremely poor responders, while a smaller number exist on either end as outliers. Height, intelligence, pain tolerance, reaction time, and yes, even one's capacity to recover from intense exercise all follow this curve. This is one reason Mike insisted that trainees keep a training journal. Not for sentiment, not for motivational quotes, but because a journal becomes an empirical record of your body's tolerance, recovery speed, and progress. It shows when you are improving, and just as importantly, when you are not. In 1995, during a phone interview with publisher Bill Phillips of Muscle Media 2000, Mike was asked directly about this topic. What followed is one of the clearest expressions of Mike's philosophy on training frequency, recovery, and the biological logic behind spacing workouts properly.
Now, how do you know when to train again? Let's say I worked out Monday, and what do? You take off Tuesday, you train again.
Bill, I can tell you without a doubt, it's always a mistake to train 2 days in a row.
Okay, I agree with that.
You have to understand that, again, the body doesn't grow during the workout, it grows during the rest periods.
Right.
We have learned through observation that training 2 days is always a mistake because 24 hours between workouts is not enough time to allow for full recovery and full growth.
Right.
The first thing you do after a workout, Bill, is not grow but recover.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Put back what was used up. When you're done working out, you don't feel the same as you did before the workout, do you?
Right.
You're exhausted. Something was used up. The first thing your body will do after the workout, therefore, is devote its energy and resources to recovery or compensate for the exhaustive effects of the workout. That takes time. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes. It can take up to several days for some people. It is only once the body has fully compensated for the exhaustive effects of the workout, i.e. recovered, that it will then devote its energy and resources to overcompensation, or putting back a little bit more than was there before the workout. Remember, recovery is compensation, putting back what was used up. Growth is overcompensation, putting back a little bit more than was there before the workout. Do you see what would happen, Bill, if you were to work out again before compensation is fully completed?
You would destroy the opportunity to make
overcompensate.
Yeah.
Overcompensate. Even if you're working different muscle groups. Remember from the first tape, I emphasized that in addition to having a localized effect on the muscle you're working, exercise also has a systemic effect. It affects the whole body, the entire physical system. I have seen with my phone consultation clients and my in-the-gym clients that they do best on an every 72 to 96 hour program.
This clarity is refreshing. Training is not a guessing game. It's not a matter of feeling ready. It is biology, a sequence of stress, recovery, and only afterward, growth. The common error is assuming that just because a muscle feels ready, the system as a whole is equally prepared for another bout of high-intensity training. Mike flatly rejected this assumption. A recent 2025 hypothesis paper published in Medical Hypotheses provides an especially striking modern confirmation of this very point. The authors proposed what they called the competition for resources hypothesis. In one of the key observations motivating this idea, participants trained their arms one day and trained their legs the next. Although these were different muscle groups stressed on different days, The second workout created such a large systemic recovery demand that the arms, trained the day before, showed reduced hypertrophy compared to when they were trained alone. In other words, the legs and arms were now competing for the same finite pool of systemic adaptive resources: amino acids, protein synthesis capacity, cellular energy, and the entire organism's recovery machinery. This is precisely what Mike described more than 40 years earlier. As he put it during a 1981 seminar in Rexdale, Ontario,
I'm not talking about localized muscle recovery. I'm talking about recovery of the physical system as a whole. Localized muscle recovery actually takes place very rapidly. But you do 10 sets of squats, very, very heavy squats on Monday. Your legs may have recovered by Tuesday, but try to do a heavy back workout on Tuesday. You won't feel the inclination because your whole system has been called upon. Demands that have been made upon all the body's recuperative subsystems, not just the legs. The whole system is called upon. You've got to allow the whole body to recover, not just the legs.
The 2025 hypothesis simply expresses in biochemical terms what Mike had long observed empirically, that training another muscle group before the organism as a whole has fully recovered drains the very resources required for the first muscle to grow. Mike's recommended training split. Returning to the 1995 interview.
Okay, so I can train my chest on Monday, then again on Friday, or wait a minute.
No. You would train your chest and back on Monday.
Okay.
Take Tuesday and Wednesday off, and on Thursday, and on an every 72-hour program, you would train your legs.
Right.
Then you would take Friday and Saturday off, and on Sunday, do your shoulders and arms.
Okay.
Now, the next week, Bill, you would not train Monday. You would take Monday and Tuesday off, train Wednesday.
Right.
Every 72 hours.
Mike did not apply this template universally. It was a starting point. For some trainees, especially those with lower than average tolerance to high-intensity effort, 3 workouts in a rotation would still be too much.
Breaking the body up into 3 groups.
Right.
That's just one way to do it.
Now, I don't have everybody doing this. There are those individuals, remember, that don't tolerate high-intensity exercise as well as others.
Mm-hmm.
In those cases, especially, overtraining often results from overlapping. When I see certain individuals not making satisfactory progress on the program I just recommended, I eliminate as much overlap as I can. I'll take the shoulders and arms out of the program entirely, consolidate it into a basic compound exercise routine, focusing on the major muscle groups, the chest and the back, and the legs.
Mm-hmm.
The chest work indirectly and even directly stimulates the shoulders and triceps.
Right.
And the back work does the same thing with the biceps. I have had clients that have made better progress with their shoulders and arms after eliminating specific exercises for those areas. Remember, overtraining is often the result of overlapping. When I say it's easy to overtrain, I ain't joking.
Right.
I used to say years ago, Bill, that high-intensity, heavy-duty training was like going out into the intense August sun. You'll get a suntan every time you go out, but even 1 minute more exposure than required or needed. Remember the importance of the concept need. 1 minute more than is needed, you'll get a sunburn.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came to understand a few years ago that I was wrong. It's more demanding than high-intensity sunlight in August. It's more like going out into the intense August sun with the sun 5 million miles closer to the Earth.
Right.
You see where that would necessitate a reduced volume and frequency of exposure?
Yep.
Now, just recently, I amended it again, and I'm not spreading it thick here to make a point. High-intensity, heavy-duty training. Weight training in general is not like going out into the intense August sun. It's more like jumping into a fire. It'll warm you up, but 1 minute more exposure than required, it'll burn you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful with this stuff.
Interestingly, Mike didn't merely advise caution. He insisted that trainees respect the absolute intensity that true heavy-duty training entails. The higher the intensity, the greater the demand placed on the system, and thus the greater the required recovery time. Periodization and modern evidence-based training. In modern exercise science, many practitioners advocate periodization, phases of hard training followed by phases of easier training to prevent burnout. Mike viewed this differently. In another 1995 interview with Phillips, he was asked about cycling intensity.
Do you suggest that people cycle this training style, or is this just is that compensated for by just adding enough recovery?
You don't have to cycle it. I get tired of hearing these people blindly attacking the theory of high-intensity training when they've not taken even 3 seconds to try to understand it. When you're allowing enough time between workouts for full recovery and growth, there can be no overtraining. The only people who need to cycle or periodize are these guys like the ones who advocate the Ironman system or Perillo or even Weider. By implication, their systems lead to overtraining. You would only need to periodize or cycle down because you're overtraining.
Right.
With the proper training program, you do not overtrain. See my point?
Exactly. So
the idea is not to go into the gym and just blindly see how much you can do, or do what amounts to engage in a series of random motions being moved by your blind urges. There is a proper scientific, theoretical approach to this.
To Mike, periodization was unnecessary if the program was correctly designed in the first place. If you train with proper intensity, brief volume, and sufficiently infrequent workouts, you simply do not accumulate the chronic fatigue that makes deloading necessary. Mike's final word on training frequency. Mike Mentzer's philosophy on when to train again is not based on tradition, gym culture, or arbitrary scheduling. It is based on biology, observation, and reason. He believed deeply in the scientific method. Take data, evaluate it honestly, and adjust accordingly. The body grows during rest, not during training. The higher the intensity, the more severe the inroad, and the longer the required recovery period. Most trainees will perform best on an every 72 to 96 hour program, with some requiring even more rest. A training journal, objective self-evaluation, and an understanding of systemic recovery are essential. In Mike's view, training is not about doing the most you can. It's about doing the precise amount required to stimulate growth, and then allowing the body the time necessary to complete both phases: compensation, recovery, and overcompensation, growth. As he often reminded his clients, science is an exacting discipline. And in that discipline, your job is simple: train hard, train briefly, train infrequently, recover completely. Only then will you grow.